Hey folks, welcome to the Ask Me Anything call with LifterLMS. I'm Kurt Von Onen, and we've got Magic Emily Middleton with us. You know, I have to apologize, Emily. I am still half a bubble off. I just spent an hour interviewing Kevin Geary on a separate podcast.
Oh,
and
yeah, that. What kind of talk were you having with him?
Well, it was with WP Tonic, and it was, about the apparent flaws in the Gutenberg project. And, he's a pretty animated guest, and we went into a lot of things. And so, I really had to focus on that. I had to make sure, don't get lost in the mud, Kurt. Don't get lost in the mud. Stick with them. Because, he's much more developer minded than I am. I'm more of an implementer. So good conversation though. It was fun. We've got some people in, so I want to go ahead and throw this up, folks. If you are joining us live, I want you to go ahead and add not only your pre-sales and pre-sales questions in chat. Don't just give us your questions, but get involved. Tell us who you are, where you're from. If you're new to Lifter, if you've been using Lifter for a while. This is an Ask Me Anything call. And I think what we've seen happen over the last month or two since we've kind of changed our format a little bit is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, but we're seeing people that have been with Lifter for a while actually coming to the call. And I've seen like customer names that I helped 3 years ago asking questions, which I think is a real testament to not only the product, but like how people are viewing this, live free support kind of feature that we're doing right now. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, last week, so we were on an office hours call, which is a call we do about 2 hours from now. It's a Zoom call for Universe and Infinity level customers. Somebody on that call had said, like, it's a really nice testament to your product that you do the live streams and it kind of you stand behind the product and show up week over week. And that was really heartwarming. I think that's a big part of the LifterLMS brand. So if you're in chat, let us know any questions you have, because this is what we're here for, is to talk about the product and go through any questions you have and make the space for this time to answer those on behalf of the company.
Yeah. And I think we do a pretty decent job of, we'll isolate a question. We'll say, oh, that's a great, getting started question. That's a great, getting into the platform question. Where do I host my videos? Typical question we would get, right? Things like that. But then there's some people that'll say, well, how do I automate a tag in Fluent CRM when this form gets filled out and I want to use Gravity Forms instead of Fluent, and it gets involved. And people that are new to our little ecosphere might be like, what in the heck are they talking about? And I think we try to do a pretty good job of saying, hey, we can answer this question now, or we can do a screen share about this question now, but this is a little more involved, right? This would be a higher level discussion. And I think it's important that we make those discernments. But yeah, welcome to the call. I can see the number growing. There are people there, Emily. So let's go ahead and throw the message up. The big one I'm supposed to start the call out with is, if you've come to this call or you're watching the replay, if you're new to LifterLMS, you get access to a 55% off coupon code by going to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. Now, in full disclosure, the last I looked at the LifterLMS website, there was a 50% sale going on. So it's an extra 5%, but well worth it. Something I'm going to call out on this call that, it took us a few days to work it out, but we had someone use the AMA-gift coupon this week for a lifetime deal. And so, we had to change a couple of things and move it around, but we were able to get that to go through. So 55% off on the lifetime deal. So what's that? A $10,000 product that you got for $4,500. Right. Pretty smoking hot deal.
That is a smoking hot deal. And then you get access to office hours so you can talk to us on Zoom.
Yeah. And that's, to me, that's one of the best things about jumping in and doing the infinity deal or the lifetime deal is, you can jump into that office hours call and it's not this format. It's a closed invitation format. And so we know who's on the call. We can share with people on Zoom. We can do screen shares. We don't have to worry about Zoom bombing and cartoon porn popping up in the middle of our presentations. And so we're able to have a much more interactive experience with people in a group setting. And the thing that I really like about it is every now and then we get really educated folks showing up that have made products or made integrations that work with LifterLMS come to the call and like explain the integration or to assist or to add details or information that, possibly Emily and myself, aren't knowledgeable in. So it's really cool when you have a group think, as opposed to a coach think. And so this Ask Me Anything call is like a coach think, and the office hours call is like a group think. It's a really fun project. I would say it's an experiment, but we've been doing it for over half a decade, and it's had a long string of success in there. Looks like we've got a comment from Daniel Cochran. Daniel, welcome to the call. He says he's been using LifterLMS for several years as he slowly drafted a curriculum just using the basic plugin. Purchased it a year ago, but it didn't work as expected when I first played with it, or I didn't understand it. That is a common thing, Daniel. Don't beat yourself up. What I want to do is allow teachers in high school to add their own students to my curriculum website and grade their work. You can do that. So what's really interesting about LifterLMS is we have the free core plugin. People will put that into a WordPress website and start to make some magic happen. They can build a curriculum. They can give access to students, things like that. And then as they grow their projects, let's say you want to add e-commerce or marketing tools, that's going to put you kind of in the universe bundle area, right? Where you're thinking about, how do I connect to a CRM tool to communicate with people, to market with people? And then how do I collect money? How do I connect to a payment gateway and actually sell these memberships? And so that's one level. But you're mentioning another level here, and that is what I want to do is allow teachers in high school to add their own students to my curriculum website and grade their work. Depending on your business setup, there's different ways to address this situation. And so, and you already added a comment that's going to have my suggestion. Look at that. It's like two great minds thinking together, Daniel. It says, sorry, I had to edit. I meant we purchased the group module. So yeah, groups allows you to, let's say ABC Elementary School buys 500 seats from you. Well, you can add 501 seats to that group, and then ABC Elementary School can invite and manage those students and view their progress in that way. If you wanted to give the teachers the ability to edit quizzes and edit essays and things like that, or look at assignments, then of course you could make instructors within the website and give them access to that back-end reporting. Now, I don't want to overcomplicate things, but Daniel, there are some people that have used LifterLMS and they've created an additional role that might not be instructor. So, because an instructor can also make courses, right? And so maybe they create an extra role and then they don't allow that role to make courses, but they allow them to grade assignments and quizzes and give them front-end reporting ability. And that's something that you would have to have custom developed. So if you wanted to get, kind of like, really high end, and you've got a lot of different schools, a lot of different teachers, you've got the bandwidth, you've got the revenue coming already from a proof of concept, then you might want to hire a developer, have that front-end reporting added where you convert LifterLMS reporting from the back end to the front end, and then you have that new role kind of access that dashboard or that portal on the front end so that they can manage their students for quizzing and assignments. I've seen that done. Did I confuse that too much?
No, I think there's a lot of ways to go with it. So I think exploring them makes a lot of sense. And Daniel, if you do have any follow-up or have more specific details about what you'd like to put together, we could probably give you a more tailored solution and more tailored recommendations about what you might want to look into for the platform. But there's just, like I said, there's so many ways to go about it.
Yeah. And I just a flash in my brain was like, well, I'm sure there's a WP Fusion way to connect some things and automate some issues and do some reporting bits. And so, yeah, if you could always reach out to someone on the experts page, lifterlms.com/experts. And you could reach out to someone on the experts page and be like, I'm really looking for more of a integration between teachers and students from a third party perspective. Because an instructor within your own organization is different than a teacher at a third party organization, right? From a business perspective. And so, yeah, if you were really clear about what the end goals were, we could probably point you in a good direction to find a good expert that could help you with that.
Definitely.
And I have, just so happen to have, hire an expert. I found the banner and I put it up on the screen. Look at that. I feel like I'm getting technical. I feel like I'm running a TV station here. Ready, camera one. All right. Jumping into comments again. Corbin Kettleson. Corbin Kettleson came to office hours last week. Super, super nice dude. But he put in way long of a comment. Looking at tracking key event indicators of students as they go through the course, the goal is to help encourage them along their courses to increase graduation and completion rate. Absolutely. The engagement section looks super useful. However, the API only has student progress percentage complete exposed. The goal is to map a student's progress over to ConvertKit, which will be used as a customer management system. Is WP Fusion the solution? There's, again, we're going to get into use case here, Corbin. There is, I got to take your words off the screen. That's too much for me. Use case. There's different ways to skin this cat. It's WordPress, so there's 17 different ways to handle something, any kind of obstacle. And so it depends on how many friction points you want to add for your students. For example, if you're making professional e-learning material and you're using a course authoring tool like a SCORM tool, SCORM would connect through a learning record store, which would be kind of a third-party plug-in to your site. And then you would have statements that came from that SCORM course along the way that would report to the LRS. And then you could trigger automations based on that LRS reporting. Sounds like a convoluted way that I said something, but those that are in the e-learning space that have worked at a higher level with course authoring tools, they'll recognize, oh, statements, triggers, like that's kind of how SCORM works. SCORM is a very interactive platform where you would have multiple lessons or multiple concepts kind of combined into one, playable window that was interactive with the student. Now, the reason I went to that first is because that creates a ton of friction for you. Just going to flat out say it creates a ton of friction for you, but it really reduces the student's friction, right? So if we're looking to have multiple touch points with a student that are instigated through a CRM like ConvertKit, and you want this to happen kind of automatically, you want to say, okay, how much friction can I put on the student before they get tired of doing this? And so SCORM, LRS, automations, that reduces the friction for the student, but adds friction to you. The other thing that you can look at through the engagement process is you could install extra knowledge checks or points within your lesson system. So not using SCORM, but using LifterLMS and the course builder. Instead of having like 10 lessons and a test, you could do 2 lessons and a quiz, 2 lessons and a quiz, 2 lessons and a quiz, and then 2 lessons and a final test, right? And then those quizzes don't necessarily have to be scored, but they could complete a touch point where you could set up an engagement in LifterLMS. Student completes a quiz, gets this message. So there are ways that you can still engage with the student and kind of automate some of those things using tools that exist. The main thing, again, is driving back down to use case and how much of a burden you want to put on the student versus how much do you want to invest in automating your site. And yeah. Emily, I know you got thoughts other than what I just said. You would probably go a different route.
No, I think that's perfectly fine. Are you going to use engagements or are you going to use WP Fusion? I love WP Fusion. I love engagements. If you're willing to go with WP Fusion, I would do that. But it's just a little more advanced. But it sounds like you're there with it. Is there? And then Corbin had a follow up. Is there a way to send that quiz? Oh, sorry, I was pulling up the.
Did I screw it up? Oh.
Is there a way to send that quiz complete message from ConvertKit for the email behavior tracking purposes? No. So the engagement system is all going to go through the WP mail function of WordPress. So whatever SMTP solution you have connected to the website is going to be the default mailer. But yeah, I don't think like ConvertKit has any kind of SMTP solution where you could like forward that over, right? But I would just use WP Fusion at that point to tag ConvertKit, say quiz completed, send the email there. I wouldn't worry about trying to mess with the WP mail function. I would let the website send emails like purchase receipts. I would let it send emails like lost password resets, those transactional emails. And then I would take all of your customer interaction emails and bring them over to ConvertKit, possibly using something like WP Fusion for that advanced setup. That way you have your marketing emails, your direct customer emails, and your transactional emails as separate, because we really don't want things like lost passwords and purchase receipts to have problems with spam, because troubleshooting an SMTP solution is annoying, but ConvertKit is kind of in charge of getting your customer interaction emails into the inbox. So if you can go with that way, just send your quiz completed emails through ConvertKit connecting with WP Fusion, and then just do lost password and purchase receipts through the website.
Yeah, I'm really strategic about what goes where. And then something to know, just the other side of the coin, if you leverage your CRM tool to do a lot of messaging for you, remember that you want to go and kind of audit the notifications and the engagements that you have set up in LifterLMS, so that you're not, basically spamming your users with multiple similar messages. And so a lot of times when I have an active CRM in a website, I use Fluent CRM. But when I have a CRM active in the website, I'll go through my notifications and I'll make sure that I'm not, hitting my user with an automated email from the system that my CRM is also sending.
Yeah. Yep. If you have a CRM, you've unlocked the level of engagement that is way higher than the LifterLMS engagement system out of the box. LifterLMS engagements gives you a basic setup, but once you have a CRM, you're in a good world of interaction.
That's my opinion. Now, Daniel's got a question here, kind of a follow-up to what we discussed earlier. Would we still need the group add-on? For me personally, I am a big fan of groups. I like the way it keeps things segmented. And one of the things that I really enjoy about groups is the reporting feature on the front end. So when you run a larger LMS for a corporate purpose, for instance, let's say I used to be the training manager at Suzuki, the motorcycle company. HR would want to report like once a week, once a month about like what all the students were doing, who signed in, when did they sign in, what did they complete, what's their grades, did they pass, who's certified, who's not certified. And to be honest, if you are running an LMS that's serving 50 of these companies, you end up giving yourself a job of creating reports, and it's a full-time job of just dealing with the HR departments and the different reporting requirements of your clients. When you use groups, you say, hey, I got great news for you. Here's your group. Boom. You can invite your people right through this link. And then you can see the reporting right here. They love the automation. They love that self-empowered feel, like, oh, I'm in charge. And they go to the website, look at the front end reporting. They can export the report if they want, and they can see everything right there. So for me, groups is hugely valuable, especially in a school setup where, I might be connected to an elementary school. That elementary school might have 25, 30 teachers that are signing into that site and managing students through it. Now add that to 20, 30, 50 schools, and you can see how the scalability of that can get out of hand if you're, sucked into a reporting kind of mindset, So for me, having groups is really important just from that perspective. if we go back to the other conversation and we say, well, you've had a portal custom developed and a new user role and front end reporting available and things like that, well, then realistically, you might not need to have groups at that point because you would have custom developed past that point, and they would be using their custom dashboard or portal to manage their students.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. We've seen this a few times. Now, I know for a fact Groundhog has this built into their integration with LifterLMS. I don't know that Fluent has it, because I was a Groundhog customer for a long time. But it says, are there alert capabilities to alert a teacher of a student's lack of progress within a time period? And so lack of progress, I'm going to have to say, not really, but a lack of signing into the site. There's a feature in Groundhog as a CRM tool where it'll say, has the student not signed in 3 days or hasn't signed in 5 days, send a reminder. So you can kind of set up this kind of email sequence or funnel that gets triggered when someone doesn't sign in for a certain amount of time. And so that's something that you can do. But you'll notice that I am not talking about LifterLMS, pardon me, in this answer. I'm talking about a CRM tool that works in tandem with LifterLMS and would be connected to like an external cron job to be able to track the time appropriately and be able to execute the triggers and all that stuff that it needs to do. So you can have these types of alerts set up with a third-party CRM type tool or automation tool, but it's not baked into the core plugin.
Right. Yeah.
And Corbin just wants to have a conversation with Rob Rogers. So apparently people are making friends in the chat. That's awesome. All right. And we even got a perfect thank you. So to me, I'm just going to go out on a limb. We've got the time. I don't see any questions. Keep the questions coming, folks, so we can interact with you. We've got a couple of pre-sent questions, and I'll bring those into the conversation here in a little bit. But I was just having a conversation very, very recently about how much the WordPress working environment has changed. I've been in WordPress since 2004. And so, yeah, I'm in my 20th year of working with WordPress. And it used to be a blog. It used to be a CMS. It used to be and if I wanted to make any changes to anything, I can remember I used to have to sign into like the file editor and see if I could find hex codes and change colors and spaces and weird things like that. And now look where we're at. We have page builders, over 60,000 plugins in the repository. And I think about how much just having a CRM in the website has completely changed the nature of how I use a website. Like it used to be, how can I keep luring people in to see what I have on a certain page? But now I have a website that goes out to people, right? So now I have a website that can go out and net a marketing message rather than kind of willy-nilly, someone signs in to see it. And so I think that's the difference between having a static brochure styled website and then having something that's more interactive and dynamic. And so when we get questions like this from Rob and from Corbin, that's really goes to show how commonplace people have begun to think of these things, but they're not old traditional concepts. These are pretty new things in the grand scheme of technology.
Totally.
Right? Well, I think about the Mañana No Mas site. Like I just activated a support portal through Mañana No Mas. So I have a CRM, I got a form tool, I've got some automations in place. I create email sequences that, kind of build my mail list and do referrals and work people through sales pipelines. I can do all that in my WordPress website now. And then I added this support portal where now for my hosting clients and my website clients, instead of having to email me or message me or whatever, I just direct everybody to the support link. And now so when they fill out a support ticket on my site, sure, I get the mobile notification. So if I'm out and about, I know something's up and I got to put my attention to it. But everything's in my site and everything becomes part of that. And I know some people say, well, that's a nightmare. You don't want all that in one site. But I have everything in one place now for me, which makes things much easier. And when I think about how people are coming and asking us these types of questions, Emily, I think to myself, it wasn't even 5 years ago that this wouldn't even have been a conversation.
Oh, totally. Did
you see Luke's
It's come
question?
a long way. Yeah, let's pull it up. We're getting to launch our first course, and I'm in the process. That's awesome. I'm in the process of configuring what happens after the course is completed. Right now, after I
send them an upsell.
Yeah, send them an upsell for sure. Keep them going down the pipeline of your business.
Upsell opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good idea. So right now, after you mark complete the last lesson, the page reloads and the button mark complete is replaced with the lessons already complete message. And is there a Lifter Native way or course specific graduation page? If not, what would your recommendation be? I have explored this solution a lot. I feel like I've heard people talking about I have heard people talking about this. We're talking about developing this feature into Lifter because it is a popular feature request, but it's not currently in the product. This is something that has been a feature request over the years, and our developers are currently taking a look into. I think it might be a candidate for cycle work this time. Cycle work is how we do these 7-week sprints of developing products and stuff. And you saw LifterLMS nodes, and some other ones came out of some previous cycles. And so developing this feature into the LifterLMS plugin is something that we've been kind of fleshing out how it would work. And so that might actually be on the roadmap for the next, I would assume it'd be out in the next year, but probably more like the next 6 months or so. But for the current time being, there is a way in LifterLMS you can do a completed course redirect. And maybe I could share my screen on this. LifterLMS.
I'm going to pop the words off the screen so we can see your screen share.
Yeah. Developer. I had done this a long time ago, so I don't remember. I think somewhere in here, filters, redirect on order completion. There's all kinds of developer resources when a course is completed. I'm not finding it. Oh, here we go. Redirect and exit on the developer hub. So this one is a little bit of a challenge, right? Because redirect and exit, we don't want to exit because we want to where is my, oh, this is it. So it's gonna pull up my screen. Boom. Redirect and exit. So this is actually a code item. So this is going to be developers, where we can redirect the person after they complete. So this is this function redefines running. Okay, so I'm just gonna read this real quick. I hadn't read this in like a long time.
I haven't read this in a long time.
Yeah. Passing some words. So this would be a developer thing. So it would take a little bit of time to look into this. But currently you'd have to take some kind of a code snippet like that to hook into when people complete a course, and then just redirect them to a certain URL and exit. So it is definitely possible. You'd want to play around in the developer documentation, like what I was looking at there a little bit, but it is a possibility with some light custom code today with a little bit of a PHP filter. It looks pretty intimidating, but it doesn't really have to be that intimidating, especially if you're trying it out on a staging environment, or if you have access to a developer resources or a little bit of developer time from somebody in your team. But currently that's not a feature of the product. The best recommendation we have for doing an out-of-the-box solution for this would be to have like a final lesson page. So on the final lesson page, there might be something like it redirects to the next lesson, which does have a graduation text on it, right? Because when you click mark complete, you're going to go to the next lesson, unless it's the last lesson of the course. So we could redirect them to a last lesson. And then I've seen people even take it further if they don't want to install code on their website. They've installed like a Automator WP style solution, and those tools can mark lessons as complete automatically. So you can set up these triggers and actions in the back end of your website with this like drag and drop builder to say, and I could share my screen on this too, but it might just take a little bit of time, so I want to talk through it. We would say when this button is clicked as a trigger, I want to complete the last lesson of the course. So it could be like a graduation page, so you can complete lessons without people actually clicking mark complete. They would just click like, yay, I graduated, and be taken to their certificate, and that's when their certificate would be awarded. So there are some ways that you can do this with a few out-of-the-box solutions, but you do need to get creative at the current time. But I wouldn't be surprised if that feature rolled into the core product in the next 6 months.
And the use case kind of changes things a little bit too, right? Because if you wanted to like a course specific graduation page, maybe that would be an engagement, right? So when someone finishes the course or when someone completes the quiz, an email is sent, and then that email links back to, you know, some custom page in your site that says congratulations with confetti and balloons and stuff. So there's always some kind of workaround to figure out what you're trying to accomplish. You know, one of the questions that Will and I ask a lot is, you know, why? Like a lot of times customers will say, oh, I need this, this, and this. And the first thing we go, okay, why? What's the root cause of this question? And what's the root, you know, action or the root result that we're trying to accomplish? And then sometimes, you know, is it to upsell another course? Well, that is a little bit different than congratulations, you graduated and it doesn't go anywhere. You know, so sometimes you really would want to send an email, right? That would be like a celebratory email and a link to a course upsell thing. The other thing that is related to kind of this concept is we have a way that when someone buys a course, there's a redirect option in the access plan where you can redirect somebody to like a one-time upsell offer. And that's kind of a cool thing too.
Yeah. So we do have similar features in the product, and I hope to see it in the engagement system sometime soon.
And then I was distracted earlier and I put this in here, and it's just a cool resource I wanted to share. We get a lot of people on these calls that ask us like how to do something. You know, it might be more design related, or it might be more like WordPress function related. I put a YouTube channel in here that is a Page Builder 101 course by Kevin Geary. And I started to review it because I had to interview him for something else. And so I started to review it, and I was really impressed at his methodologies. I was really impressed at how he separates the content and how he communicates the concepts to people and the time that he spends. So he is a longer form communicator than I am. My lessons are typically, you know, 10 to 15 minutes. His are considerably longer, but I wanted to point that out to folks because if that meets a use case need for you, then that's a really good resource to have. And then of course there's already, I forgot the name of your channel, WP Course Guide?
Yeah.
Yeah, Emily is WP Course Guide. And then I have some stuff, but I'm nowhere near as prolific as these two in content. All right. Well, it looks like we're kind of clear on the comment area. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the questions that we had pre-filled from the, I think one of the questions is from David Cochran, who's actually on the call. So I'm going to put here from Dave and enter. And that did not do what I wanted it to do. Never mind. Silly me, I tried to copy and paste out of... Did I ever tell you how much I don't like Google Sheets?
No.
It never does what I want it to do. There we go. So now it doesn't say from Dave anymore because I got impatient. Tried groups. It didn't seem to do what I expected. Oh, it's the same question. He can attend and explain why. That's perfect. That's perfect. Yep, we're awesome. Okay, what else can we be awesome with? The next question has to do with video hosting and Video Cipher. Are we ready to chat a little bit about Video Cipher?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and I'll try to remember this person's Khaldun. Khaldun. There we go. So we got that one loading up now, and we'll go ahead and put that on screen. This one says, Video Cipher Company offers a new service called Calls Live. You could record a lesson explaining how to use this service with LifterLMS. We have a fair amount of customers that use Video Cipher, and it's actually linked in our document for like where to host video. I got to tell you, I've been working with Lifter directly now for, how long has it been, Emily? 4 years? Might be longer.
I think a little longer.
Might be a little
Yeah,
longer.
like spot.
Um,
Yeah,
I still see the question, where can I host my videos? I see it 7 or 8 times a week. So people ask on the Facebook pages and everywhere else. And so we're typically going to say, well, Lifter LMS has created tools that interact or integrate with tools like YouTube, Vimeo, and Wistia directly, like advanced videos, which has some extra features in it. That'll work directly with YouTube, Vimeo, or Wistia. But then obviously there's other places and resources to host video, and Video Cipher is one of them. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's mostly the security features that Video Cipher brings to the table. Would that be correct?
exactly. Yep.
Could you elaborate on that for us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can even pull up the sales page for Video Cipher. We talk about this one a lot. Video Cipher. So this one has some very, very creative integrations with WordPress. If I go back to my internet connection is rough, but let's see if we can get this shared. So I want to look at the features because they have some really, really interesting features. So the main one we talk about a lot is watermarking to deter screen capture. So it's a moving or static watermark where you can put the user's email on the video. So it's like if someone were to steal the video from the course, their email would be in the video. So if you found it somewhere on the internet, you know exactly who took it. So that is a really good way to deter people from downloading your video. There's encrypted streaming without downloaders, which is pretty common for most of them, but this one is such a unique feature. And then there's some piracy tracking. This is really just a video hosting solution that prevents piracy in a lot of ways. And it has some other features that are similar to a lot of what other video hosts have, but it's specifically like a piracy protection one. Those are kind of the main features.
Yeah. Now, I do remember Philip in office hours was trying to do a screen share with us to show us his video problem, and it wouldn't share. Right.
Right.
So yeah, there are some repercussions that come from adding these types of tools. But, again, we go back to, who are you and what's your why? Why is it that security is the issue? Do you have content that is so earth shattering and groundbreaking that it really is patentable? And if that's the case, then, and you want to secure it, Video Cipher is a good solution for that.
Yeah. And what Kurt said with Philip is he tried to share his screen in Zoom and the video was just black and all the people on the Zoom couldn't see the video. We could see his page, but the video wouldn't share. And he just couldn't get it to play the audio or the video for us. So Video Cipher was just like preventing the ability to share the video on Zoom. And that was kind of cool.
It was cool to see it work. It wasn't cool to help him troubleshoot his problem, but it was cool to see it work.
Right.
Yeah. The live video embed, I haven't used that yet, and I wasn't aware that they had that. That must be pretty new. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I wasn't aware. No.
So yeah, it says live stream your content globally by integrating Video Cipher with your website or app within 5 minutes. You also get authenticated anonymous chat option as well, and you can scale up to 10,000 viewers in a single session. And so I would have to do a little more study on that. As you know, Emily, I get a little fascinated at streaming and video tools and being able to communicate with students in real time. So I'm really big on like Zoom integrations or Whereby integrations or Jitsi integrations, things that allow creators and teachers to be able to communicate live with students. So this is one that I would probably want to check out. If you have StreamYard and you have StreamYard, super platinum expert level, you get the ability to have your online webinars, and you can embed online webinars directly to your website as well. So instead of directing, this is more from a marketing talk, from a marketing perspective. Instead of saying, hey, come to my live webinar, it's at StreamYard.com, XYZZ, PWD, Sanskrit, something / ... exclamation point. Instead of that being your URL, you could say, hey, come to my webinar at, abc123.com / live session. And you would have the meeting embedded right there in your website. And I think there's a lot of power from a marketing perspective in being able to have, visible links like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and surrounding I got to say this in a way that people understand and get. So when you have your meeting in like StreamYard, people sign in and they see StreamYard. When you have Zoom, typically they're going to get asked to download the app if they don't already have it. They're going to download the app. They're going to activate the app. They're going to sign in and create an account, and then they're going to be able to access the meeting link. Typically, that's what you see people do, users do. You might not have to do all those steps, but you'll see users do those steps. And then that's what they see. They see the Zoom window when they are in the meeting. Now imagine you've got a meeting that is embedded in your webpage on your website, and you've got information and one-time deals and upsell offers and coupons and maybe a live chat or whatever that's also embedded in like the sidebar to that page. And that video content is surrounded with a header that has your logo and links to your blog content. And so, when people are in a meeting and they get bored, imagine them clicking around in your property out of boredom instead of clicking around on Facebook out of boredom, because they're actually on your platform in the meeting. They're not somewhere else. So I'm a really big fan of these opportunities to embed content in our own websites.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've never done that before, but it is a really cool aspect. And you mentioned like all Jitsi and Jira and those, and I'll have to try those out.
I've tried Jitsi a couple of times, and I've got some developer friends that are in love with it. And it works great, and the video quality is awesome, and it works on the mobile phone. It works on the laptop. Like so many positive things to say, but I still found it like, I don't know, more clunky for me to set up. Like I actually had to like figure out, do I want it to be a hosted version or a self-hosted version? And there was like things to decide. Whereas with Zoom, it's a hosted version. You got to follow their directions, which are intricate and complicated. But once you get it on, once it's in your website and it's working, it's on your site and it's working. So that one works. And then Whereby, to me, Whereby is just the easiest. I can just create a meeting, snag the code, slap it into a custom HTML block in a WordPress, Gutenberg powered website, and we got a live meeting.
Nice.
We're out of comments. What do you want to talk about? Hey, you want to sing a song?
I'm sure. My internet keeps going from like 1 megabyte per second upload to 300 megabytes per second. They're clearly working on it, and so like I might not have clear enough audio to sing.
Well, I am not with the company that has the commercial. I'm with a different company. But since I moved to Kansas, I have become a gigillionaire.
What's that?
Super, dude. How weird is this, right? So people in California think that they're great because they live in California, right? Like we've got the, we're home to Silicon Valley. We're so technical. We've got their internet in California sucks. Everywhere that I lived in California, I struggled with connectivity, staying on calls, uploading video, because I make a lot of video content. So uploading video was painful. I moved to Kansas. I signed up on Tech. What's the name of their company? I can't remember the name. It's something Tech. And it's fiber optic internet with over gig speeds. Dude, it's crazy. I used to like load a video up to, because I host on Adillo for my videos. And you would like load up a 45-minute video, and it would take, I don't know, half an hour to upload. So you'd go make coffee and walk the dog and stuff like that. Now I literally go to upload a video and I just watch the line go done. It's sick.
Oh, with the internet speed. Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a standard in Kansas. Like we got to Kansas and like everybody has fast internet. It's a weird thing.
That's cool. That's very cool. We could do like a demo. I was gonna say, if my internet speed can hold up, we can do like a demo of some of the backend features of Lifter. If anyone who's new to this call is new to Lifter, we can do kind of a high-end overview, and let me know if my internet cuts out too much, and
I'll
we
let
can
you
just
know.
go back to. Okay, thank you. So, just a high level of what Lifter LMS does at like a fundamental level, and even if you're already used to WordPress, already used to Lifter, this will be helpful for you. So, WordPress at its core adds posts and pages, like blog posts and pages, and it populates them. You can set a home page, you can set a blog archive page, and the plugins you add to your site, like Lifter LMS, add a lot to that. So if I go to my reading settings, I can set a home page, I can set a blog page, and so WordPress being built as a blog platform was kind of the main way it was built and what it was oriented around, but then custom post types being added where plugins could declare a course is a post type that we want to create. And when we say post type, we just mean a type of content that could exist. Membership could be a post type, engagement, order, groups, and it opened up the door for WooCommerce, Lifter LMS, and other plugins in the ecosystem to be able to create interesting add-ons to your WordPress environment. So that's how plugins and themes do some interesting things like this, where they can do forms, and it's not just pages and blog posts anymore. It's not just static content that you display to other people. You can use a plugin like Lifter LMS to create content other people can interact with by paying and signing up for, or even just having free content that you put out on the internet. So looking at it from that perspective, of such a basic perspective of what Lifter LMS does and what it adds to WordPress, opens up some ideas of like, what kind of add-ons could we build? We've got the groups add-on, we've got private areas where you can do one-on-one messaging with your students. You can rename these things on the front end of your website. So it creates a positive user experience. You can do forums. You can do, so this is not in Lifter LMS, this is going to be with bbPress, but a lot of Lifter LMS users like to integrate with community tools. They like to have the people on their website interacting. And I always recommend having that once you have about 100 students or more, to try to add a community element to it. And even if 3% of your people interact with the community, which is likely what you're going to see from your audience as far as user interaction, that 3% mark, when you're at 100 students, you'll have about 3 people in there interacting. I find a lot of course site owners launch their site, they start a community, and they're sad that nobody's really participating in it, but they really only have 20 to 50 students. Now, if those students are highly engaged, or you've been interacting with those students one-on-one already, then they might be interacting on a consistent basis. I know that I'm in a few programs actually run by Lifter LMS, or not run by Lifter, but they're using the Lifter LMS platform to do some kind of coaching, and I'm involved with those groups, but they are one-on-one coaching clients, and then they also have some community aspects. So it's not 3%, it's more like 20% of their customers interacting community. But that has to do with the price point of the product, and the price point of their product is about $100 to $400 a month or more. So it depends a lot on your price point. But if you're launching like a passive course and you want people to interact on your website, having those community features is great. And I know, Kurt, you have a lot of experience with community, with Buddy Boss, and I know bbPress, BuddyPress, Buddy Boss, and there's other ones like Circle, but there's a lot of popular community platforms, and I know you're big into Buddy Boss. What do you think about community and LMS?
Well, you hit the nail on the head as far as my root opinion goes, and that is, I believe not everyone, most people prematurely launch their community package. So I'm old, and I always think about like those cool nightclubs when I was growing up in Philadelphia, with the light up floors, like Saturday Night Fever, right? And so, imagine John Travolta shows up and he does that dance, but there's only 10 people in the room. That would be a lackluster thing. But if you've ever seen Saturday Night Fever and John Travolta goes out and dances on the light up floor, it's like there's 1,000 people in the room. And that's what creates the momentum and the excitement and the energy. And so if you don't have people, if you don't have a tribe that's already built, that's open to participate in community, then you're probably going to have a brick on your hands. And it's really hard to get like a startup website built with community tools. It's really hard to get people to adopt it. I've got a couple of them that I've built as portfolio pieces so that I can show clients, absolutely, we can build community for you. Look at this cool website. Look at all the features. But I don't have the tribe to fill the space. And so a lot of those features look empty and dead or like your sample posts are 2 years old, those kinds of things. Community needs activity, and it needs energy, and it needs momentum. And so I'm really big on that. That's why I think the LifterLMS social learning tool is such a pivotal social tool for people, because before you invest whole hog in some, Buddy Boss or Mighty Networks integration or something with Circle, you could do social learning. And, I know you're really knowledgeable on the social learning thing. You still get a profile page. You have the ability to have your timeline. It shows, what you've done in the website. It shows your achievements and your certificates, and you can put your comments and your posts in there. But it also creates almost like a forum, comment string for each of the courses that you're in. So it segments the communication based on what you're involved in within the website. And so everyone that takes, the ABC course can comment in the ABC thread. And that to me is a really good jumpstart for community to try it before you really go crazy and do something on a larger scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom hopped in with a question.
Tom, you're too late. We'll see you next week.
An important question for a client we're considering Lifter for. They're looking to track attendee view time for event courses. In an example, Zoom. Any ideas? So tracking attendance / view time.
Yeah, I got this one. I got it.
Yeah, take it.
It's not in your LifterLMS powered website. Even if you are integrated with the Zoom integration, you would use the Zoom tools, like say registration is required. So registration would be required to attend. Zoom would capture that people came to the meeting because they were registered. And then it would also show their duration for the meeting in the Zoom reporting.
Yeah, that sounds great. And then you could possibly use an API to pipe that data into your website automatically, but it would be over there for sure.
Yeah, I wonder if that old demo site is still available. Let me look. Let me see. Did I do it? I'm going to check a couple of links real quick and see if... Nope, that one wasn't it. I had a demo site that I used when I made the Zoom. Remember, I made the Zoom blog post?
Yeah.
Let's see if it's in there. Because there is reporting from Zoom inside the website as well. The integration brings over a lot of the data, but I don't think it brings... Let's see, we got all events. Zoom meetings, webinars. The API connection on this one didn't get set up, so I can't show you. But it connects to your Zoom account, and a lot of the information gets ported to the back end of your site. So I would be really curious. Zoom redid their methodology for you had to create an app, an SDK app inside Zoom, and now you do it a different way to access your Zoom integration for your website. So I think we need to kind of revisit that and redo that, Will. And I can report on that maybe next week and see if there is a change in how Zoom reports to your website. I know that you can go to the Zoom reporting in your Zoom account, but wouldn't it be cool if it was right in your website?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And if it reports to the website, then it would stand to reason you could have it developed to integrate with the LifterLMS reporting as well. I know that for some folks, that's an important question with the continuing education credits, where you have to justify how much time was spent on a course or a lesson. And so a lot of people worry about the time and how they justify the time to their governing bodies.
Totally.
Oh, he's got more. So if they only got a certificate for staying for the whole video, we need to review attendance manually and then send it to them after. Yeah, unless... No, I hate to do that. I was going to say you could use advanced videos, right? And then do it as a replay, but you're probably looking for the interaction. That's why you want Zoom in the first place, because you want to do live screen shares and Q&As and stuff. So yeah, you would have to verify that they attended and then issue the certificate. You could
Yeah.
No, I was going to say you could probably do like a some type of a knowledge, like a knowledge check or quiz after the call, because you could embed the Zoom session into a lesson page, and then you could have when the Zoom meeting closes, a quiz open up, and then take the quiz, and that would kind of verify. You would ask a question from before and a question after. So, okay, I know that sounds crazy, but I actually have a customer that does this. They have they converted their PowerPoints to videos, and in the videos, it says, what is your viewer attendance authorization code? And then each of their videos has a code like A316. And so they have a quiz question that says, what's your video authorization code? They have to fill in the blank A316. And then when A316 matches the correct answer in the quiz, that shows that they completed that required hour set for that CEC. There's a tons of ways to do this. There's another way that you could look at this. I'm running long, so I'll wrap this up quickly. There is a third-party plugin in the repository that is called, I believe it's called User Activity Tracking. I put it up on the last live, so I should probably just bookmark that stupid thing. But User Activity Tracking, and it's in the WordPress repository, and that logs the IP address, maps it to the username, and shows you exactly what somebody's doing in the website, and creates its own separate database of activity tracking. So you could go that route, because then you could have that data mapped to the LifterLMS reporting if you needed to do that, so that you could export it with the CSV for your stakeholders. It takes a little development, but there are the tools out there, the building blocks to build what you need. Totally. And we even got an awesome thanks for that. I feel like my answer just really confused things more than solidified things.
No, I think you covered a lot.
Yeah, I go back to, you and I were working with, I can't remember this female's name. It was a female from office hours. And then we ended up having a consulting call with her, you and I. And her big thing was a timer for the lessons, You know, and there's different LMSs that have timers built in, but we don't have a timer built in. And so it was for continuing education, had to log how much time a person spent on each lesson page, not just the course and not a cumulative amount of time for video content. It was how much time they were on the lesson page. And so that, I believe that was the first time I looked at that user tracking tool that would be used as a timer for user activity. And then from an automation standpoint, that user had to accumulate a certain amount of time in order to close out a course. And that all had to be developed. I mean, that's obviously not something that came out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it up one more time. Boom. You can get a 55% off coupon by going to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. Again, that's lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. If you are signing into this late and you're like, oh my goodness, I missed the wisdom from Emily and Kurt today, don't worry. We're going to take the recording of this and we're going to put that up as a replay in some of our different social channels. So you'll see a replay of this shortly. And we will see you a week from now. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
I'm going to hit the magic button. Ding, 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 ding.